So you know what? Brad Pitt from Ocean's 11, Viggo Mortensen from this movie, and Fat Bastard should get together because they would clean house on a restaurant. What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie Emporia's movie review of Green Book, the newest film from director Peter Farrelly, and stars Viggo Mortensen, Marhershala Ali, and Linda Cardellini. So the story, basically, if you haven't heard of it, because I know a lot of you guys haven't, there was this character named Tony Vallongo who was a bouncer for the Copacabana. He does something one night where he beats up a mafioso character. They have to shut the club down because that's the way the mafia apparently works in the '60s, and therefore he is out of a job for a couple months. Well, throughout the process, he is given a call for to be a driver for this character played by Marshall Ali, and they end up going on a road trip through the Midwest and the South, and it's a story about two characters who are injected into the world of racism and people that hate colored people and just the way the world works in the '60s. And so they travel from Ohio to Kentucky to Alabama to Arkansas, and they have to like discover, not only are their characters themselves have to discover the who they are, their identity, but they have to discover that they can't be who they are. They have to be more. And it's a representation of how we as a society need to just become better people. We're so divided, even still, even 50, 60, hundreds of years later. And this movie is trying to explain just the idea of just being better, just being a better human being. And it is a true story. These two characters that Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali play are true characters. Mahershala Ali plays a character who's a very well respected pianist. He goes around basically playing the piano for rich white people. And when they go down south, they have to, deal with the racism that's going on down there. The colors can't eat in white people restaurants, and they can't stay at white people hotels. And Viggo Mortensen, who is playing pretty much a racist in the movie, kind of learns to accept what these people are and who they are. But he helps Marshall Ali, who's very stuck up and very, gentlemanly, understand that he doesn't have to not be a black guy, not have to be in his culture, but how to accept everything. And the movie itself is okay. It's a very stereotypical, very cliched, portrayal of life in the '60s. You've seen it done many, many times. But what really lifts this movie up is the acting, is Mahershala Ali's character and Viggo Mortensen's character. They're both really good, really, really well done characters. And they take a subject matter that's a really hard subject matter to deal with, and they find a way to lift it up to make it better than its whole. And that's what's so great about Marhershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen, is what has been great about them for a long time. Viggo Mortensen's been great ever since, way back in A Perfect Murder, to Lord of the Rings, to Eastern Promises, to A History of Violence, which is one of my favorite movies of his. Mahershala Ali was good in Luke Cage and Moonlight, and it really shows that they have a real grasp of the material. This is directed by Peter Farrelly, who is one of the Farrelly brothers, who directed Dumb and Dumber and directed Kingpin and all these movies that are really well liked but really funny. And this movie has a lot of humor in it, but it deals with really hard subject matter. And I always complain about the story doesn't always benefit the characters, and that's kind of the problem here. But I think the two main leads in this movie are doing such a great job that you kind of just have to forgive it maybe this time, because they understand each other eventually, even though in the beginning they don't. They're in a car throughout most of the movies. There's a lot of written dialogue, and it's a lot of fun seeing Viggo Mortensen and Mashar Ali, kind of go back and forth with each other. Like for instance, there's a scene where you see it in the trailer where, you know, Viggo Mortensen's character Tony sees a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kentucky. He's like, "Oh, I've never seen this before," and he grabs a bucket of chicken and he eats it. And Marshall Ali's like, "I've never eaten fried chicken before." He's like, who in your race and culture has never eaten fried chicken before? But it's just a funny scene because he finally eats the fried chicken, and then there's a scene later which is a really, it shows the 60s, the really racist time in the South about, what do black people like in the kitchen. And Marhershala Ali's just like, what is going on here? But there's stuff like that runs throughout the movie. There's, Marhershala Ali is trying to make Tony a better character, a better understanding character, and just trying to improve upon his etiquette. And it really pays off in the end. And like I said, this movie is well shot. It's beautiful to look at. It's gorgeous. The landscapes are gorgeous and clean and interesting to look at. You can definitely tell this is a Peter Farrelly joint because it has a stamp all over it. But just like I said, Linda Cardellini is in this movie. She's not in it a lot. She plays Tony's wife, but I like her. I wish she'd get more to do because she's always in these bit parts, playing the wife of someone or playing, just minor characters. And I really wish she would get something to do more like a lead character because she hasn't had a leading part that I know of outside of maybe Freaks and Geeks and maybe Scooby-Doo. But I just think that she could add so much more potential if she could star in her own movie because she's wonderful in this movie as she is always, but it's always just the wife character that she plays. But, overall, I will definitely recommend for the acting more than the movie itself because it is, like I said, a cliched movie. But when you have acting this good, this Oscar worthy, it definitely worth seeing. So that's good. That's gonna be my take on Green Book. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you like what you see, remember to rate, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. Email nlapolo113@gmail.com. But yeah, tell me if you have any interest in seeing this movie. I know a lot of people have never heard of this movie because you've told me you never heard of this movie, but I definitely would say recommend seeing it and tell me what you think in the comments below. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and you guys have a great day. Peace.